I don't know, like some books just seem like they're made to fill space on the shelf or something, or they think someone will buy it because it's the flavor of the day or has a celebrity attached to it or something.
Right.
No one wants to read that book again and again and again. They barely want to read it once.
Ho, 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 ho. Welcome to Storycomic Presents, where we interview amazing storytellers and artists. This is episode 488. I'm your host, Barney Smith of Storycomic.com, and we're excited to have with us the internationally acclaimed, Eisner Award-winning, and Vermont Cartoonist Laureate, James Kochalka.
Hello,
James,
everybody. It's great
how's
to
it
be
going?
here.
Yeah. We were just talking before we hit record is that I have my three genres of podcasts are Vermont authors and artists, children's people who make children's books, and then also comic creators. And James, you've fallen all three. You've fallen all three buckets. So this is exciting. So
Yeah, I'm
yeah, yeah,
proud of it all too.
yeah.
Really, I don't know. Like, it's funny. I am really proud to be a Vermonter, but um, I'm not really sure why. I think people are just proud of ineffable things.
It's like certain things that you can that only that like certain clubs you can only belong to that nobody else can just
Yeah,
like no
yeah,
matter how hard they try, you know.
that's right.
You know, as I was getting ready, I was reminded as I was looking up questions to ask you, James, is that you were the inaugural cartoonist laureate of Vermont.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Um, uh, it it's interesting because uh, well, I think it's a bigger deal now than it was when I became it. But luckily, I'll always be the first one. You
Hmm.
know, like I may not be the current cartoonist laureate of Vermont, but I'm the first cartoonist laureate of Vermont, and that sounds really cool. Especially because, like, the first poet laureate of Vermont, that was Robert Frost, who
Mm.
then also went on to be the first poet laureate of the USA. So
Wow.
so Vermont like led the uh, led the charge there. There was no poet laureate at all, but then Vermont had one, and then then the USA. So I feel like
Yeah.
being in the same category as Robert Frost is pretty darn good.
Yeah, it is. And so we were talking before too, is that I first discovered you years ago with your American Elf series.
Right, my diary comic. So
Yeah.
for starting in 1998, I did a daily comic strip, a diary comic strip, and I did that for 14 years. Um, uh, and then I officially quit, but I secretly kind of kept drawing it. Like I would do, but only like one or two strips a year. And then, uh, as I was telling you earlier, um, Patreon, I didn't have a Patreon account, but Patreon announced that they were going to change their terms and that the terms were going to stay the same for people that were grandfathered in. So, like, if you were one of the early Patreon people, you'd have the good deal, and if you signed up after this certain point, then you'd have a bad, you'd get a smaller percent of the money or something like that. So I was like, well, I
Right.
better sign up just in case someday I want to have a Patreon account. So I signed up, but didn't tell anyone, didn't put anything up, and then a year later, somebody subscribed and was paying me $3 a month for nothing. And I was like, I gotta give them some content. I was like, what would they want? Well, they probably want American Elf. So, so I started putting up American Elf strips. So now I do it, it's like I was more than slightly more than one a week. So
Hmm.
like maybe 5 a month, something like that.
Right.
It's kind of,
Uh,
it's not, in the old days, it was one a day no matter what. Like, no matter
right.
how sick I was, or if I was camping, like deep in the woods or something, I was still putting up uh, a diary strip every single day. I mean,
Hmm.
I wouldn't post it from the woods. I'd draw it in the woods and then, post it when I got back. Um, but that's a pretty rough schedule. Like,
Right. Yeah.
not even Charles Schultz had to do that. He would do, he'd have his bank of strips built up. Like, I don't know how far ahead he worked, a month ahead or something like that.
Right.
So like if you had to do something someday, if you were sick or if you went on vacation or something, well, you'd make it up when you got back, right?
Right.
But like I did mine in real time because it was a diary, draw it each day as it happened. There's no days off then.
And now, because when you look at it, how often do you kind of like look back at some of your American Elf daily drawings?
Oh, well, I mean, I guess I've never read it.
Yeah.
I did read I have read the like
Hmm.
first year or so, like, or maybe I don't know. I've read the beginning a bunch of times.
Right.
And then every once in a while I might read one or two, like look back and read one, but I haven't sat down and read the whole thing. Um, Even at like when it was like 14 years, which is, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of strips.
Right.
Uh, I mean, thousands, right?
Right.
Um, I would still get people would tell me, "Oh, I sat down, I just started reading the whole thing, and I did it all in one weekend." I'm like, "Holy cow!" Like, I guess I guess you could do it, but you
Right.
really had like, that's a, uh, that must be an amazing experience actually, to to read all that. Because I have to say, um, uh, 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 I knew before I did it that that if I did it, it would be something great and amazing. And and that's part of why I did it. I was like looking for something really ambitious that I could do that could make my mark on the world, as a young ambitious man trying to make his mark on the world, like what can I do? What can I do? And then I thought of this and I was like, well, that's it. If I do that, um, that's probably the best thing I could ever do. Um, and I think it is. I think it turned out. I mean, like it's amazing. Um,
Right. Yeah. Did you end up making it as a does it feel like when you're putting this together, did you feel it was um the character itself, even though it was autobiographical, turned into like an avatar of yourself, or was it?
oh yeah, no, the really strange thing happens,
Yeah.
uh, which is, um, although it's nonfiction, right? But
Yeah.
in a strange way, any writing is partially fiction, right? Like the decisions that you make as a writer, even if you're writing about true things, they add a kind of strange bend to it. But then the other thing is that you start to like live your life for the strip. So like your
Mm.
actual real life sort of becomes fictional. Like you become like while you're actually walking on the street or talking to people or interacting with friends and family, you're kind of writing at the same time, um, because you're always thinking about what's going to go in the strip.
Right.
So it kind of fictionalizes your real life, which is a little like going completely insane.
Well, in a way, too, is like you were acting as social media before social media, where you were being intentional and making like crafting your own stories
Oh yeah,
for an
and
audience.
okay, and then so
Yeah,
yeah, it absolutely is true. It is very much like what people do on social media, but I mean, the first bunch of years I did it, it wasn't online. Eventually, I
right.
started to do it
Okay.
online, but at the beginning, it was just in my sketchbook, um,
Okay.
and then published as books. Um, there was another cartoonist. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce his name, but it's Drew Wing, Weing, and he
Hmm.
started doing a diary comic, um, inspired by mine, but he was posting his online. And he was doing that, and I was like, oh my God, everyone's going to think he's the creator of this amazing thing if I don't get mine online. So he's the whole reason why I started to put mine online. But
Okay.
he beat me to it online. Um,
And did you know? So James, because after that, you're working on that for 14 years, and you started in '98. Was that correct?
yeah,
Okay. And
I
when
did
did you
it
start?
in 1998. I did it. Well, I went to the San Diego Comic Con, and for the week that I was there, I was drawing the diary strip. I started on the plane ride, and then I published it as a mini comic. And then I thought about it for a couple months, and I thought, this is what I got to do. This is what I got to dedicate myself to. Um,
Hmm,
so that was like July or something. I think that's when the San Diego Comic Con usually is. And
yeah.
then I think it was October that I started in earnest. Just took a few months of thinking about it and building up the nerve to do it full
Okay.
time.
And so, because you mentioned too in one of your things that you talked about that like craft is the enemy. You once wrote that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, uh, I can tell you what sort of inspired it, and then what I meant. I guess uh,
Yeah.
I was inspired by. Well, I was probably reading the Comics Journal, and they were talking about all these great like craftsmen in comics. I don't know who they were talking about specifically, but I was thinking, but they're like, I'm not interested in the work that these people did. Like they might have great chops, but like like I felt like the soul or something was missing. And then I was
Right.
also thinking about how like you might have like a favorite band or something, right? Like well, like if you're into crazy indie music like me, you might have a favorite band and their first album's like great. Like it's so raw and wild. And then they like learn to play their instruments better and all of a sudden they start to suck. And something about being good makes you worse. Like
Right.
you get um you get like um you get like fixated on the craft of it and you lose the expression.
Right. Well, hey there. If you're enjoying our podcast, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep this show going. We love hearing from you, so any feedback is welcome. And thank you for being a part of our podcast family and for all your support. It truly means a lot to us. And so when did you pivot also into doing some children's books? Because one of the other things that when I rediscovered you as a father was your Banana Fox
Oh
series.
yeah, cool. Well, I started. Oh gosh. So I told you about my how I thought American Elf was like the greatest thing I'll ever do, right? And then I made the decision to quit for a bunch of reasons, but it was a little heartbreaking because I felt like, well, what does that mean the rest of my career is? Just doing lesser work? I've just resigned myself to being a lesser cartoonist for the rest of my life because I've given up my great genius project. Um, but then I like reinvented myself as a children's book cartoonist, and I'm really good at that. But it sort of started before I had kids. I did. I was doing books that I thought were for adults, but then they just happened to resonate with kids. Like Monkey versus Robot was one, and Peanut Butter and Jeremy, about that's about a cat named Peanut Butter who thinks she works in an office, and but she's really just a house cat, and a crow that's like outside the window named Jeremy. Um, and I did those two books thinking I was drawing them for an adult audience, but kids loved them. And then I had kids, and then I was definitely making books for my kids, like the Johnny Boo books,
Yeah.
and uh, it was really the most beautiful, wonderful experience because, um, like, the kids would go to school or daycare or something, and I think the idea at first when we sent them to daycare was that I would need to get some kind of work done. It was really hard to do it at home. So a couple
Mm.
days a week they'd go to daycare and I would work. But then what I worked on was stuff for them. um, so I would do like a rough draft of a chapter, and then they'd come home, and then for a bedtime story I'd read them the chapter that I'd just drawn for them that day, and then I'd sort of like gauge their reaction, and then I'd the next day I'd rewrite it, right, so that like I'd make that chapter better. Like if there was like any lulls, or if like they seemed to lose interest or something at some point, then I would just rewrite that part to make it better. Like so it would grab their attention the next night. And then I'd write the next chapter.
Right.
And then I'd read them those two chapters together. And then the next day rewrite the first chapter, second chapter, and write a new third chapter until the rough draft was done. So like, so they were perfect, like, or at least perfect for my kids, right? Like they were absolutely perfectly um, um, built to capture the imagination of my kids. Um, and then luckily that worked pretty like it's kind of universal. If it works on one kid, it kind of works on any kid.
Right.
So that kind of trained me. Now they're grown up, right? Like the youngest is 18 and the oldest is 22. So I don't need to test it. I don't need to test it anymore. I know what to do now.
Yeah. And so how did you kind of like pivot? Did you so over those years when you were making like you said like Peanut Butter and Jeremy, and then you had Banana Fox and you had Johnny Boo, did you but you're also doing some adult fare as well.
Yeah, yeah. But really a lot more of the kid stuff. Once
Or was it?
I think at the beginning it was like 50-50. And
Yeah.
then as the kid stuff started to take off, I I kind of stopped doing adult books for a while. Uh, I did a couple, I guess. I guess I
Right.
always did. I mean, yeah, always done something.
Yeah. And so and then and how did you so talking about the kids part that journey you went on there on the surface generally speaking people that I've talked to think writing a children's book is easy because it's less but it's really challenging.
Oh
And
yeah,
so what would be your the point to say what did you have to learn about writing books for children that you were surprised that you had to pivot to as compared to writing some adult comics?
you really have to be clear. Like you really can't futz around with uh
Like
not
innuendo and
with
symbolism and
well,
stuff.
not you can have symbolism.
Yeah.
Um, what is it? What is it that's different? Is anything different? Yeah, I think you could just be like, you could be yourself personally confused and write in a confusing way for an adult. And the adult will be like, well, they're just like, there's some symbolism I don't get.
Mm.
But really, the author hasn't figured it out. I feel
Right.
like with the children's book, you've got to have it figured out and you got to be clear. um, or you've lost them completely.
Yeah. Well, and also too, you want to make sure like your children's book have repeat readability to it
Oh
too.
yeah, that's absolutely for sure too. Right? Yeah, yeah. It's got to be good not just for one reading, not just two readings. It's got to be good for like 100 readings, right? Because they're just if they like it, they're gonna read it again and again and again and again. Why the kids read the book again and again and again, I'm not completely sure, except um, I I read something recently. I don't remember what author this was, but they said they were talking about being a kid and reading a certain book or book series again and again and again and again. And the author was saying they felt like that there was some really important information that they had to read again and again and again and again so that they knew what life was. Um, and I think that that's what kids are doing. Like it's the same reason they play. Like they
Right.
know that there's something big and meaningful about life. Like things are happening and going on, and um, and I think they read something again and again and again because something has sparked them. They're, that like this is it. This is I'm learning the secrets of the universe. Um, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
just like because it entertains them. I think it's
Right.
because it's reinforcing um, some basic uh, concept of what reality is. Um,
Right.
and I think that I think that's what an artist like what an artist does, a writer. Um, it's not that we have the answers, right? Where um, the reason we make our art is because we're lost and confused, just like anyone else, and desperate for some kind of answer. And so by making this thing, we're like searching for the answer. Like, what is the answer? What? Why? And so you write the thing to try and figure it out. And then, if you're lucky, doing that um, makes some aspect of humanity and life or existence a little more
Mm.
clear to you. You know, like
Right.
Um, and I think that that's like when somebody does that well, um, that's what makes a kid want to read that book again and again and again and again. I don't know, like some books just seem like they're made to fill space on the shelf or something, or they think someone will buy it because it's the flavor of the day or has a celebrity attached to it or something.
Right.
No one wants to read that book again and again and again. They barely want to read it once.
Like so when you see an observation in life, James, like so because your children's bookstores, there's no finite ending. Like you're still doing Johnny Boo, you're still doing Banana Fox, you're still doing Peanut Butter and Jeremy, Dragon Puncher. These stores are still you didn't they're still ongoing, right? If you wanted to
Well,
sit down and write a new
yes. I
one.
mean, they're all theoretically ongoing. Um,
Yeah.
Banana Fox, Scholastic doesn't want to make anymore, but it's my biggest hit by far.
Huh.
Um, so that's a little confusing. They explained it to me, and I understand their explanation. But but like the sales have just been phenomenal as far as I'm
Right.
concerned. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, I, I can't tell you the exact numbers, except I know what the best. So the first book sold something like 70,000 copies, which is a lot, and the third book sold something like 50,000, so not as good. But the second book sold 171,000 copies, which is really good, really good, and including like so the book is like the first two books are about like 4 years old now, and in the
Mm,
last accounting period, book two sold an additional 50,000 copies.
wow.
I'm like, what is happening? And they don't know what's happening either. They
Huh.
can't they can't they can't explain it either. Um, So I'd love to do more Banana Fox, but in the meantime, I'm trying to find, trying to sell, pitch some new idea.
Right. No, did you? So when you sit down and like when you're out and about in life and you see an event happen, whether it be like a chipmunk in a tree or you're walking around and you see, maybe a stick floating down a river. Do you
Oh,
like
those
if
are
you ever
all
get
both good things. Those
so
are-
like you so like when you see something, how do you decide which one of your IPs basically? If you get an idea, you just like, oh, this is a great Johnny Booth thing, or no, this is better Banana Fox, or no, this is a good Dragon Puncher, or like,
Oh yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna put
well,
this.
it
How do you
probably
decide who gets it?
oh,
Like,
it'll probably be like whatever I happen to be working on,
oh,
it'll end
really?
up in that. Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
So you're basically like hyper focused on one project at a time. You don't hop back and forth between projects
No,
as you're working on.
I do hop back. I do hop back and forth.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, a thing could end up in more than one, actually. Yeah,
yeah,
if I happen to be working on uh, on a couple things at once, the whatever ideas are inspiring me might end up in all of them.
right. Yeah. Did you have you ever thought from a creative perspective, are all your stories and all of your IPs, are they in like a kind of like a shared universe at all?
Um, well, I did. Uh, there's the Johnny Boo series and the Dragon Puncher series, and I did do Johnny Boo meets Dragon Puncher.
Oh, cool.
So I kind of do imagine that they might all, yeah, they
Yeah.
I mean, they basically all exist in our world.
Oh, really?
So that, yeah, but I mean, I guess like there's some like outer space ones and stuff. So obviously, like they're not on Earth, but like Glork Patrol could come to Earth and meet Johnny Boo or meet Banana Fox. Sure, absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, some of them are with different publishers, so it might be kind of tricky. But I do imagine that they could all have an
Right.
adventure together. Yeah.
So at what point, talking about the business of that, is there after a certain amount of years, do you get the IP back, or do they belong to the publishers?
Well, it depends on the contract. All of them I own,
Okay.
but um, a publisher could have, for the duration of the contract, exclusive right to do it.
Right.
Right? Like I couldn't do a Johnny Boo book with another publisher, but I
Right.
could wait out the contract and then do it um, with another publisher. Like I could
Right.
bring since Scholastic doesn't want to do another Banana Fox, I could bring Banana Fox to someone else.
Right.
And I did do that with Glorkian Warrior. I did 3 Glorkian Warrior books with First Second, and then uh, and um, they didn't want to do a fourth, so I brought it to Top Shelf, but just tweaked it slightly and changed it to the Glork Patrol, and did 3 more with Top Shelf.
Okay. Yeah.
It was kind of like a reboot. It's hard to tell if if yeah, like in the third Glorkian Warrior book, the Gonk character grows up, so he's an adult. But in
Hmm.
Glork Patrol, he's a kid again because I didn't want to draw comics about him as an adult. He was
Right.
funny as a little kid, so um, uh, he's like Gonk. Like the funny thing about the Glork people, um, when they're when they're babies, they're just the head. They're just like the head and the little feet, and then eventually they grow a whole adult body.
Oh,
And
cool.
he's just really funny as the head and the little feet. Um, and I wanted to do more stories about him as a kid. Yeah, so
Right.
it's like a reboot.
Right. So this is great. So James, if people want to learn more or get some of your books, where's the best place they could go to?
You mean like online,
You,
or
you well, yeah, or
or
they
here
can
in
and they
Vermont? Here in Vermont,
anywhere.
any of the local bookstores, anywhere, any bookstore will be able to get it for you. Go to your local bookstore and ask them to order Banana Fox or Johnny Boo or Clerk Patrol for sure.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Or go to your
here,
local library and
or your local library, absolutely. And
yeah.
if they, the interesting thing about, like, you might check your library, right? And they don't have the book you want. You'd be like, oh, darn it, they don't have the book I want. I got to go buy it. But if you just ask them,
Mm,
they'll get it for you. Um,
right.
they'll either just buy it to have it on their shelf, because if one person's interested, probably more people are interested. Um, or, in the case of like an out of print book or something, they can get it on interlibrary loan. They can just order it from another library on a temporary basis, and you can get it, read it, give it back to them, and they'll send it back to the original library. I've done that
Right.
with some out of print books that I wanted to read.
Right.
Um, and some of my books are out of print. I couldn't tell you for sure which ones are.
Right.
Some might just be temporarily out of print. Um, I have so many, and it's impossible for the publishers to keep them all in print. I mean, the big thing, like, it's expensive to print a book, right? And if a
Yeah.
book has been around for a while, and you do a famous book, you're going to always be able to sell copies, right? But like, if a book sold a few thousand copies over the course of 10 years and now it's run out of print, there's not a big incentive to print another, 1,000 copies that it's gonna take another 10 years to sell.
Yeah.
So I have plenty of books like that, like,
Right.
you know um, sell a couple thousand copies, and that's fine and dandy. But it's hard to keep those in print.
Right. Yeah. Well, good, but they also can go to. Found your page as well. They could go to
Oh yeah,
uh,
follow me on
James.
Instagram. It's just Kochalka at
Okay.
Kochalka on Instagram. Um, or I used to be on
J-
Twitter. I still have an account on Twitter, but I don't use it anymore. Oh, that the website James Kochalka Superstar.com.
Superstar.
It's not really my website.
This isn't your website,
No, not really.
really?
A friend
I
of
thought
mine.
this. Was,
It looks
oh,
it
okay.
looks very official, but a friend of mine made it,
Oh,
and
that's
I
so
don't actually
funny.
have control over it.
Okay, I was gonna say, and then
He offered me control over it, but then he
right.
was like, "But you'd have to pay the hosting fee, and I just don't want to." I was like, I don't know if I want to spend $150 a year or whatever it is.
Right. And so, but you also have
It's a nice looking
um,
site, though, isn't it?
he did, and then you have the Glorkian Warrior. Is that and that's still a game that people can download and play?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All
Oh,
right.
yeah. I made a video game on based on Glorkian Warrior. So I did the three Glorkian Warrior graphic novels and the three Glork Patrol graphic novels, Glorkian Warrior video game,
That's
and
amazing.
I did an album called Good Morning Glorkian Warrior. Uh, it's just all songs about the Glorkian Warrior character and his friends and enemies.
That is fantastic. Oh, excellent. Wow. Well, James, this has been a genuine pleasure. I'm so glad we're able to connect.
Yeah. We can thank Dan Abdo of Barb the Barbarian for that.
Yeah,
He's a great
exactly.
guy,
Yeah.
um, and fellow
Yeah.
Vermonter.
That's right. And yeah, so when you get your new books, you see you're working on new projects, come back on and we'll talk more about some of your specific projects.
Oh, sure. You know what? The next book comes out in May, and it's Green Eggs and Ham Go Next Door,
Oh,
which
cool.
is my second Green Eggs and Ham graphic novel. Um,
Okay.
uh, and they're great. Um,
Yeah.
uh, as you can tell, I really like my own books. I've mentioned how great they are several times. Um, like how they do like the Spotify Wrapped
Hmm.
thing, and they tell you like what like what you listen to most and all that kind of stuff. Well, I got mine, and the thing I listen to more than anything else is my own music, which we haven't talked about, but I write music too. I have a rock band called James Kochalka Superstar, and so I was like, that's okay. I'm my own biggest fan. But then it
Yeah.
tells you what it told me, um, that I'm the number three biggest fan of James Kochalka Superstar. There's two people who listen to it even more than me, somewhere out there in the world.
All right. Well, thank you so much, James.